Welcome to the Figure Fit Lifestyle Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Liz Nierzwicki, international best-selling author of the book Happy, Healthy, Fit, founder and owner of Solace Yoga Studio, Solace Yoga School, and Figure Fit, the worldwide online personal training program. I'm a single mom, Paleo Fit Score female champion for 2014. I am a self and soul love expert, an entrepreneur at heart, a visionary and a futurist. I'm also a mentor. I am so grateful that you are here. Each week, I'll bring you a special guest or an inspirational tip that will help you break old patterns, find that inner motivation that will help you take action towards creating the life of your dreams. You didn't come here to play small and watch others live amazing lives. No, you are divine, my godly friend. The universe wants to shower you with an amazing life filled with happiness and soulful connections. Are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome to the Figure Fit Podcast, where we discuss fitness, paleo nutrition, yoga, meditation, spirituality, and other ways to have a happy, peaceful, and abundant life. And here's your host, Liz Nierzwicki.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm so happy that you're here today. Today I did bring a special guest to you again, and this guy is Dave Hunt. Dave is a former Navy pilot. He's totally obsessed with fitness and he loves working out. And so once again, this is a great conversation. You guys are going to love the story about how he created this jump rope system and really where the inspiration came from in his experience by when he was in the military. And his story is really cool, so I can't wait for you to hear that. And then you will hear some things that we talk about in terms of how to add jump roping into your life and how good it is for you. And then just some of my own questions about, is it going to make your legs bigger? Ladies, are you with me on that one? Is it going to make your calves bigger? And so we talk about that. We just talk about different things. And I know you're going to enjoy this podcast just as much as I did. And also Dave has an incredible website, Crossrope.com, and why jumping rope is so good for you. So check out his site. And you guys, without further ado, here is my special guest today, Dave Hunt. All right, Dave, how are you today? I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I am here in good old Indiana, and it's one of those days where it's kind of cloudy and gray, so that's lame. But other than that, I'm cranking out some podcasts today.
Awesome. Well, I can relate because I'm up in the Seattle area, so cloudy and gray is pretty much our normal our normal weather this time of year.
Yeah, and you guys get what? You get a couple of, the afternoons are usually sunny?
Well, the summers are nice. I mean, the winter is pretty consistently gray and rainy. It doesn't rain hard. It just rains frequently. So.
Ugh. Oh, I could not handle that. I would be like, I am out of here after a month.
Hey, that's why you got to exercise to elevate your spirits. So,
Well, trust me, I'd be exercising the whole day. Well, Dave, I'm so happy that you're on the show today. Why don't you tell my listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for some reason, I don't know, I think some people are just born with a love of something that maybe that's unique and different. And for me, it was jumping. I've always loved jumping since I was a little kid. I don't know why it was, but I pursued that through sports all the way up through college as a high jumper and a long jumper, volleyball, basketball, you name it. If it was jumping, it was something that I just had a passion for and loved to do. Well, after college, I joined the Navy. I was a pilot for a couple years, but I still had this passion for fitness and exercise, and the jump rope became more and more of a staple of my routines. I just found it to be a fun challenge, something that was dynamic in the way that I trained. And I kind of came across a scenario where I had a gym bag full of tangled jump ropes, and the engineer in me said, there's just got to be a better way. So it started out as the classic, better mousetrap. I'm going to try this entrepreneurial thing and see what happens. And so that was the inspiration for my business, Crossrope. And Crossrope is the only interchangeable weighted jump rope system where you have a pair of handles that clips in and interchanges with different resistances of jump ropes for a more dynamic full body workout than you can get with a regular jump rope.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. I love it. Let's keep going on this. Yeah, that's like, so I have a question though. It was like itching, inside my brain to ask you this. Do you do parkour?
Well, I watch parkour. I haven't done it before. It's one of those things where I think that I kind of want to try it in a controlled environment. So
Yes.
I've seen parkour gyms where they have the setups and the obstacles, and I'm an avid Ninja Warrior advocate, so I've watched a lot of the athletes, and I met a couple at some trade shows, and so I've kind of tried some of the stuff, but I haven't fully engaged yet. It's definitely on my bucket list.
That's cool. Yeah, I have a 14-year-old, and I wanted to get him into gymnastics this past winter, and they had parkour there, and I was like, ooh, let's do this, because my son, when you were talking about yourself and your youth, that you were always jumping, I was like, yes, that's my son. We named him, we called him Monkey, because he was always all over everything.
All over the place, yeah. Yeah, no, I love it. It's just one of those things, you just have certain people have that extra level of energy, and I don't know if it sounds cheesy, but it's just like escaping gravity. Even if it's just for a split second, there's just something that's very freeing about it. So whether it was in sports or jumping rope or whatever it is, it's just something that I've always sort of naturally pursued. So yes, parkour is next on the list.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I love it. So you are, have you always lived in Seattle?
No, I'm actually a fairly new resident. So when I was in the military, I got to live a couple different places. After I graduated from college in Maryland, I went down to Florida, and then Texas, and then back to Florida, and then out to Washington, back to Florida again, and then did my final tour in Virginia before moving back out. So I've gotten to see the various corners of the country, and this is just closer to family, and it's really a fun area where a lot of people are outdoor-minded and exercise-minded, and there's just a lot going on.
Yeah. Are you, how long have you been in operation with your business?
Well, I launched the business on my own back in mid-2012, so it's coming up on 5 years now, which is hard to believe. It sure seems like it's gone by fast, but it's just growing tremendously. And I started as the moonlight entrepreneur, so started doing this on the side while I was still in the military, and then have been out about a year now doing this full time, as it's just grown so quickly, and the team has grown. And I've just really enjoyed the opportunity to pursue something that was my own thing.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you. It's fun, and it's exciting when you have a vision that you want to put out into the world. I've done it multiple times now, and it's hard. It's fun. It's frustrating. It's exciting. All of that.
The classic roller coaster ride, right? I think everybody can kind of, who's been through it. That's why I enjoy connecting with other entrepreneurs, particularly in the fitness space, because we all share a lot of the common experiences in terms of the ups and the downs, the victories and the defeats, and of course the whole fail forward mindset. You're going to make mistakes, but you learn from them and you get stronger. And so yeah, it's an adventure, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So. You got started in 2012 when you were in the military. Tell the listeners a little bit about that. How'd that look for you?
Well, it was a little bit of a lemons to lemonade story. I guess the seeds of the idea were, dated back to 2008. So I was deployed to Africa, and the gym that they had there was limited in terms of the fitness equipment, but it was my first experience with weighted jump ropes. And I'm not talking about the ones that have the little metal weights that go in the handles. I'm talking about ones where the weight's actually in the rope. Mm-hmm. And it's a completely different jumping experience when you're rotating all that weight around your body. And I sort of fell in love. It was a whole new level of jump rope training that I hadn't been exposed to previously. And I was kind of surprised because I thought, I was kind of a connoisseur of jumping and jumping related fitness equipment. And I think my experience over those next 2 weeks was that all three of the ropes that I used broke. I broke them. It was a poor design, and I thought maybe that's why this hasn't caught on that much. Maybe the existing products out there just aren't that great. So it kind of planted a seed for this idea that I was kind of in pursuit of a better jump rope experience, but it wasn't actually until 2011 where I got an injury. I tore my pectoral muscle while bench pressing. I do not recommend that anybody do that. It was painful. It was not fun, and it kind of put me into a funk because I couldn't, I couldn't fly for the Navy. I couldn't work out, but I kind of saw it as an opportunity, and I thought, well, I'm going to have some free time during recovery over the next couple months, and I've always had this desire to do something entrepreneurial. And here's this idea that I've been tossing around in my mind for a jump rope system that's good quality and that uses multiple weights. So, what the heck? I'll give it a shot. Worst case scenario, I'll end up, hopefully coming up with something that at least I can use and enjoy in my workouts. But best case, I can kind of bring a whole new jump rope experience to the fitness community. And so that's kind of what, the inspiration that and the backstory to how I got started.
Oh, I love it. So, do you have engineering experience?
Yeah, my major in college was actually as a systems engineer. And so it's one of those things where the exposure to that at the very least gave me confidence in sort of my general engineering abilities in terms of kind of understanding what it might take to help devise and design a superior design. Now, I did get some professional help in putting together some of the initial products and drawings and stuff like that to help just make sure that kind of the specifications that I were looking for was met. And I think it's more of kind of a little bit of the mechanical mindset from that experience than really kind of getting into the nitty gritty of specifically computer-aided drawing designs and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely had an influence on it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Okay. So tell us a little bit about what you created and how it works and how you use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, like I mentioned, it's the only interchangeable jump rope system. And I've had some interesting discoveries since I created the product and really started getting it out to more people in the fitness community. And the initial intent was kind of like I mentioned, the resistance aspect. So most people just think of a jump rope as a static thing, handles and a rope. I've seen that before. I played with it when I was a kid. But they don't necessarily think about the potential benefit to using different resistances, just like you would in any other exercise. And that was a little bit of the aha moment for me. Hey, you go to the gym, there's multiple resistances of weights and dumbbells and elastic band. I mean, you can go in and just about any machine or exercise that you do, you can vary the resistance. So I thought, why not jump rope? How come that, hasn't been practically applied to a system where that's built into the experience that people are having? And so our system has high quality ball bearing handles with clips on the end of it so that users can clip in a 1/4 pound rope, a 1/2 pound rope, a 1 pound rope, or a 2 pound rope. And that gives them a range of resistances which are going to greatly affect the type of benefits that they can get. So the lighter weight rope is what people think of in terms of traditional cardiovascular improvement in the realm of improving endurance, and things like coordination, balance, and agility improvement. As you start to get up to the heavier weighted ropes, there's a much stronger upper body and core component to it, because when you're swinging that weight around your body, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of stabilization in the core, the shoulders, the back, the biceps, the triceps to keep that rope moving around, to keep it in rhythm. And so it fits in very, very well with higher intensity protocols. So if people are looking for something that's more towards upper body toning and some muscular development, you can actually get that with a weighted rope, whereas you're not able to get that with a light rope. And that's exactly how I use it and how we educate our community on it. So our workouts and the programming that we do around the product are devised such that people are getting the traditional cardiovascular benefits, and they're also getting some of the full body strength benefits with more of a high intensity, shorter interval burst that you would do with a weighted rope.
Okay. I'm all about that high intense interval training. That's what I do. That's what my online Figure Fit program is all about. It's high intense intervals with dumbbells. So we're using dumbbells. Maybe we'll do like biceps, superset row, and then we'll do something else, and then maybe we'll come down and do some Russian twists. And so my workouts are built to work every single major muscle group in the entire body over the course of 1 week in only 3 workouts. And then I will add in like one, maybe, for example, I could add in your rope to a workout of mine and just hit them even harder in their high intense intervals. So they would go from one thing to the next, to the rope, to another thing, or that would end maybe a 3-part set. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. Well, and that's great. I mean, high intensity, as you know, and obviously because of the fact that you utilize it in your own programming, there's just a lot of research behind why it's more effective and how it's more effective. And that's one of the, the interesting things about jumping rope is that it's very easy to integrate into a lot of different program types. And so what you mentioned in terms of, the prospect of integrating jump rope as a tool into a pre-existing workout program is really appealing to a lot of people because they like to make something new and fresh and different and something that's kind of got some proven effectiveness and a good track record. And so, no, that's I'm glad that you're kind of a hit believer as well, because it's really, really effective.
Oh, it's totally effective. And you could do a workout just alone from jumping rope.
Yeah, yep.
I should probably do more of it, honestly. I actually I bought myself a custom rope a couple years ago that was for my height. And really, I think I got it. I don't remember who I got it through. But it was just built, based on my height, and I have it. And I don't use it, probably because jumping rope for me is like a hate rather than a love. So it's like forcing myself to do it, which is okay. And I actually know that sometimes you just have to do that. You just have to, honestly, it's the things that we don't like to do that we need to do the most usually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good point as well, because I am a subscriber to the idea that sometimes, something is good for you, but it's just tough. It takes a lot of energy to have the willpower to do something that you don't want to do and that that you dislike doing. And so I think sometimes it's interesting to just consider an approach that's going to make it more fun and interesting. And that's a little bit of what we tried to do, because we used to get feedback from people saying like, yeah, I know jump rope is good, but it's just mind numbing to break out a jump rope and it takes me 15 minutes to break a sweat, and just doing the same thing for 30 minutes is kind of boring and monotonous. And so we said, well, hey, in a way we agree. And when you program a workout around different rope weights where it's broken up and the nature of the intervals is different and there's different intensity levels, and you're utilizing different skills, it just brings a whole new flavor and a whole new experience that starts to make it fun. And that's really important to us. I mean, we don't want people to do things that, and it's not for everyone. I mean, you're never going to sell everybody on the idea that, hey, this is what you should definitely be doing and everybody should be doing. There's certain things that people like and that people don't like. But I think one of the biggest things is that people, they're not confident that they're able to jump rope. They're worried that they're not coordinated enough, or they don't have the rhythm. And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about, other people that we've interacted with, just feeling like they just aren't good at it, or maybe they did it when they were a kid, or they're embarrassed of doing it in front of other people. And that was one of the discoveries that we had. I call this the greatest secret in jump rope training. And that is that heavier ropes are actually easier for beginners to use than lightweight ropes.
I was going to say that. I had that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it seems counterintuitive because everything that we're taught in fitness from day one is start light and learn the form before you go heavy. But it's the opposite in a sense with the jump rope because there's a strong rhythm and coordination element, and it's much more difficult to learn timing and coordination when you don't have a sense of where the rope is relative to your body when you're rotating it around. Yeah. So what we found is when we're teaching people how to jump rope, when we give them a heavier rope, something that's a half pound or even a pound in the rope, something often clicks instantly with that timing and that rhythm, and they slow down the rotation of the rope. And I can't tell you the number of times I've been at trade shows and convinced people to give it a shot, and they just get this big smile on their face because they went from thinking that they were just a clumsy, uncoordinated individual to somebody that can actually do 50 or 60 jumps in a row. And sometimes it's instantaneous. I mean, right away it just clicks because they can feel the rope. So that's one of the biggest things that we're trying to spread the message on is heavy ropes. Yes, they are good for more advanced jumpers because you can get really high intensity with them, but they're also good for beginners because it's a great way to learn the proper technique and rhythm and coordination if it's a new skill that you want to learn.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too because, like, for me, I see people doing double unders, and I'm just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me! How do they do that?
Yeah.
And then, I've tried, and I just can never seem to get it, and it bothers me so much that I can't get it. And I don't know, I just had that thought that the heavier rope would probably be easier because you have more awareness, spatial awareness of where it is.
Yep. And
whereas that little tiny thin rope, that's going so fast, you have no idea where that thing is in space.
No clue. I mean, I'm kind of sitting here kind of smiling and laughing because what you're saying is exactly right. I mean, there's these these really lightweight wire speed ropes out there, which they're good ropes. They can move fast if you know what you're doing, and you've developed a high level of kind of tactile feel on the handles to know exactly where the rope is and to rotate it fast enough. But for 98% of the population, if they're starting out with one of those real thin, lightweight wire ropes, it's just not going to be fun. It's just, because you can't feel where it is. It's too difficult to learn the timing and the feedback on it.
Exactly. Oh yeah. That's some of the things that for people, like, fitness can be hard enough to get into a routine, and I'm a fitness person, so to me it's not, but like getting into something else that's like, oh, like you look at it, you're like, okay, well that looks fun, I should try that. And then you try it because you get the courage to go and do it, and then you're just awful at it. That's where everybody just quits. You got to have that motivation to keep going. And there's a couple of things in my life that I have done this with. For example, one of them is double unders. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I quit, forget about it. I quit. Yeah. And then the other one is a certain style of yoga called Ashtanga Yoga. And there's certain poses in that sequence that are just my body, I don't think will ever do, just because I have more muscle than some of the people who probably invented the Ashtanga series to even begin with. They were probably just bone and and skin rather than muscle. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I get to these certain poses and I'm like, I'm done, because you almost can't, with those poses in particular. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's one of those things that I'm sure that you deal with. So how do you sell this? How do you make it fun? How do you get people to really get hooked on it?
Well, that was something that took us a couple years to figure out, because, at the outset, it was very much like, hey, this is just a high quality product and here's the features of it and you can get great benefits from jumping rope. But we really didn't start getting a whole lot of traction and community excitement and engagement until we started building online challenges. So we do these free 30-day, online jump rope challenges that are a mix of jump rope and body weight exercises. And then we give some specific direction in terms of the weights of ropes. Now we open up these challenges to anybody with a jump rope, so it doesn't have to be our specific product. But we give recommendations, if people do have our product or if they're using a weighted rope, on how to mix the lightweight ropes and the weighted ropes into a way to get the best benefits and to have the most fun doing it. So the challenges have really been a game changer for us because we've built a really engaged online community. We have a private Facebook group, so it's a private Facebook group. And so just as people have participated and they've produced really, really good results out of the challenges, and they've enhanced their confidence in jumping, and they've made improvements in the skill, it just leads to a tremendous amount of gratification that keeps people excited. Because you hit on a great point. I mean, I'm kind of the same way, especially I think the more experienced you are in the fitness space, you kind of start to know what you're good at and what you're not good at, and you kind of think, I'm going to gravitate towards the stuff that I'm good at, because the other stuff, if I'm not good at it at this point, do I really want to put the time and the effort in to get better? Like, is it worth it to do it? And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. But what I'll say is that the things that, and I'm sure you and I and a lot of your listeners have experienced this, the things that you do put a little time in to learn something new and you make improvements on just has a tremendous level of gratification associated with it, and a sense of accomplishment, and kind of like this feeling of confidence and empowerment that you can, have something new to enjoy and to keep you excited and engaged in the fitness goals that you're trying to achieve.
Yes, exactly. And there's something to be said about being curious about something and giving yourself a good time frame to really put a good effort in at learning it. I'm a learner. I like to learn new things. I once bought a 88 key keyboard and tried to teach myself how to play piano. It was on a keyboard. It was like there's 88 keys on a piano, and I was like, I want what a piano has. So I found this keyboard, and I found this course online, and I started printing them off and making this binder and teaching myself how to play these little tiny songs. And I was like, okay, and you get to a point where you're just like, oh, you can go forward or you can quit.
Right.
Yeah. And so, but there's something to be said when you actually are learning something new. It just taps into different areas of your brain. It's really quite wonderful.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think it's one of those things where, it's kind of just getting over the hump. It's getting started. And I think the other, thing to clarify is that sometimes if you don't have the right resources or the right guidance or a good instructor or know where to start, it can seem like, an insurmountable task. And that can lead to feeling discouraged and feeling like you don't know if you want to pursue something anymore. But sometimes it just takes, a couple small things, a good instructor, a good resource, a little guidance. I like in your example you mentioned the courses that you downloaded in helping you in your quest towards learning to play. I used to play piano myself. I need to get back into it, so thanks for the reminder. But it's one of those things where if you can seek some assistance, there's a lot of people out there that are really eager to help. They want to help, and I think I mentioned to you even before we started recording that, our mission is really to get as many people jumping as possible. I think that they'll, I know that they'll get a lot of extra benefit and appreciation out of using our products, but that's not the end goal. The end goal is just to expand the number of people around the world that are jumping, because I really believe in the effectiveness of jumping rope. I believe that the joy that it brings and how it really helps people to accomplish their goals. And it's become really tangible as we've built the community, because we're seeing photos. We're seeing the before and after photos of the people that are going through and sticking to the plans. I'm sure it's the same thing for you and your community. It's got to be really, really exciting and satisfying for you to see your community and the results that they're getting. And I think it's, that's where we align. It's the same thing with us. It really, it gets me out of bed every day. It gets me excited to just be making a positive impact.
Definitely. So there's actually research, and I don't know anything about it. So I'm going to ask you, and maybe you do. And if you don't, this would be something that you'll want to look into, because definitely will apply to your group. The impact that bouncing has on releasing certain chemicals or hormones from maybe it's the pineal gland in the brain.
Interesting. Well, I thought that you were going to say something else, so you definitely caught me off guard, and I wasn't aware of that. So now I do have an extra.
I gave you homework, and I don't know if it's the pineal gland, but it's, for example, it's like trampoline aerobics. It's almost the same concept of the jumping and what that does. And there's something about that they're said to, I think, like open different creative aspects of the brain and maybe even release hormones that keep you young. So in yoga, the pineal gland, one of the reasons why yogis would do headstands is because they said that if you do this at the beginning of every practice, it just activates the pineal gland and it releases hormones that will keep you young forever.
Yeah.
And that was their goal, is just to, prevent aging. And a lot of traditional yogis start their practice in a headstand just to begin, and then they will do the entire practice and end the yoga practice in a shoulder stand, which is another inversion. You're not on the top of your head, but you are in an inverted position. And this one really still is accessing the different glands, but this one, the shoulder stand at the end, hits more at the throat, the thyroid. So the king and queen of the yoga poses are headstands, the king, and the queen is the shoulder stand at the end of the practice. And then everything in between is what balances out our chakras and our energy centers. So
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's something to definitely look into. But what did you think I was going to ask you?
Well, I thought you were going to mention the bouncing aspect. I thought you were going to mention the osteoporosis piece, because there's actually been some studies on jumping rope as something that helps to prevent osteoporosis, just because it is effective in kind of, I guess, retaining bone density based on the nature of the impact.
Sure, yeah.
But interestingly enough, and this is kind of another one of the, I guess, misconceptions about jumping rope. One of the biggest reasons that people cite for not jumping rope is that they are concerned that it's too high impact. And the reason why people often feel that way is because they haven't properly learned the bounding technique, where you're basically balancing your weight between your 2 feet when you're jumping, and you're only bounding, an inch to 2 inches off the ground. So jumping rope is actually lower impact than jogging or running, and people using the proper technique are less prone to getting joint and tendon type injuries when doing it. So another kind of one of those education pieces that we're trying to get out there when people just say, oh, I don't want to jump rope, it's too high impact, it hurts my knees, it hurts my ankles. Of course, they should still consult with their doctor before partaking in anything. But if they're already running or jogging, just useful for them to know that jumping rope is actually lower impact when done the right way.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. It's the same thing for like the warrior poses and standing poses for in a yoga practice, helping to prevent osteoporosis. Yeah, but there's something to be said about, and I speak about this, in some videos that I've created, is the impact does help, and also weight-bearing exercises. So
yes,
both of those. So yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
That's good. Look into that, and then maybe I'll have you back, and we can talk all about it, what you've learned about how we can jump rope, and it'll keep us young forever.
Yeah, hey, the more benefits, the more. I think that people are bombarded with options when it comes to fitness. And I think that we're kind of this is probably trite to say, but we're kind of in an era of information overload.
Oh, for sure.
And so, at some point you kind of have to pick and choose, but people like to be educated on what their options are and what the benefits are. So, why should I do yoga over, another activity? Why should I do weightlifting over another activity? Why should I jump rope over another activity? And I think it's just very important for people to make passionate and compelling cases for why they believe in what they're doing. And, it's interestingly enough, sounds like there's a lot of commonalities in the benefits between jumping rope and yoga. So maybe there's good integration there.
My people would hate me if I busted out a jump rope. Some of them might like it, but actually that could be a thing. Actually, let's do this. Send me like 20 ropes, would you? And I will give this a try, and we'll see what we can come up with here. I like the idea. Okay, but I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Okay, so women have a tendency to have larger calf muscles than men. I don't know why that is. I must be the whole baby bearing, physique build that we have, a little bit more in our thighs and hips. So, but I've just noticed overall, most women have larger calves than men.
Sure.
And I look, for me, I have a very German physique. I grew up, I would say I'm like medium boned, not small physique by any means, but I'm also not big. I'm very, very athletic built. And, I've always had, my legs are they're solid. I've got hamstrings, I got quads, I got calves. I've had men say, God, I wish I had your calves. I'm like, oh, that's great.
That's great.
And I used to like really hate that, but now I don't mind it at all. And
sure.
In good heels, they look fantastic. So, it's one of the things that I've never really wanted to work my calves or get them any bigger, so I've always been with any sort of like weightlifting. I just don't want them to get bigger. So I don't work them.
Sure.
And what does jumping rope do to your calves?
Well, I'll caveat this in saying that I don't have a formal, analogy or kinesiology background, but the calves, I have done a good amount of research, sort of like personal research on it.
Uh-huh.
And the calf muscles are interesting in comparison to some of the other major muscle groups in the body because of the ratio of slow twitch to fast twitch muscle fibers. So, evolutionarily speaking, because, humans have engaged, majority of their time walking and standing, it's the exact reason why we can stand on our feet a lot longer than we can stand on our hands. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it is the way that the muscles have been developed. So calves have a very high ratio of slow twitch muscle fibers, and you are born with a certain genetic predisposition to, what that ratio is and, what size those muscle fibers can get up to. But the good news with jumping rope, generally speaking, is that with lower impact jumping, so this is not going to be like explosive double unders and triple unders and some of those other skills, but with lower impact jumping, it's going to primarily be training your slow twitch muscle fibers, and those aren't going to increase a whole lot in size or cross-sectional area. If anything, you might get more, I guess, definition, but in terms of the size of the calves, it shouldn't have, a major impact. So people don't have to worry about, if I jump rope, I'm just going to like blow up my calves and it's going to turn into these, fish fillets or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. And, part of me is like, well, because that's where I feel it first when I start jumping rope is right in the belly of my calf.
Sure.
Right there. So I've always been like, I've always been, I can feel that this is good, and I don't know if this is going to help them or if this is going to make them bigger, and the last thing I want to do is make them bigger. So that's definitely something that I would love to know more about.
Yeah, I mean, muscle growth in the way that it, pertains to different types of muscle fibers is definitely, an advanced and complicated science beyond my area of expertise. But by and large, I think that people tend to correlate a sensation of kind of a burn or feeling it, that it's going to cause that muscle group to enlarge or get bigger. And, with weightlifting, yes, you do 3 sets of 10, with heavy weights, it's going to happen. But with something that's more repetitive, like jumping rope, it's different than if you were doing really heavy calf raises, on a leg press machine or on a calf machine.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, what this one guy I talked to once, he was like, he's like, you don't train them at all? And I said, no. I said, they just get trained by everything else I'm doing. And he goes, you might want to just try like holding a 25 or 35 pound dumbbell or weight and doing, just training them like once a week. And I was like, yeah, I get it. Because I know that when you lift heavy weights, equal a tiny body,
Yep.
especially for women, which a lot of women are afraid of, and I'm so not. Like, give me the heavy weights. We did a
Right.
class last night, and I had my class is blowing up at my studio, my Figure Fit, the online program. I teach it because I own my studio. I teach my fitness class at the studio 3 times a week, and people are like massively starting to learn about how amazing it is because of some of the transformations that they've seen with the bodies, or like the time that it shreds off of people's. I have some marathon runners who have taken 10 to 12 minutes off their full marathon time.
Wow.
Just by adding my system, this high intense interval plus the weight training into their cross training. And last night I had 4 new people in my class. And one of the girls, at the break, I went over to her and I started just talking to her because we'll work out for like 5 minutes hard. It's one big session or 3 minutes, depending on how long it takes us to get through it. And then I'll have them fully recover and we'll talk and meet our neighbors. And I went over to her. She's like, look at you in your heavy weights. And I looked at her, I go, because I was lifting a 35-pound dumbbell. It was more like a kettlebell workout last night. And I looked at her, I go, girl, that's the only way that you will change your physique. I said, every time you come here, make it your mission to get heavier. Do the right form and do the right amount of reps that I'm telling you to do. But next week or 2 weeks from now, go heavier if you can. Even if you can get, even if you have to go down from, if we're doing 15, I go, even if you have to do 13, I want you to go heavier. And she was like, okay. And then I said, that's the only way. It's the only way you're going to change.
Well, I almost feel that those in the fitness industry who are trying to do right by the community kind of almost have like a civic duty to correct some of the misinformation and the misconceptions that are out there. Because you're absolutely right. A lot of people, a lot of females do have a concern that, hey, if I lift weights or if I lift heavy weights, I'm going to just get really bulky and I'm going to look like a bodybuilder or one of those like insane hardcore, females, which all due respect to that sport and the women that train hard for that. But it's almost kind of, I don't want to say an insult, but it's almost kind of like disrespectful to those how hard they have to work to achieve that physique for other people to think that it's going to happen to them just because they lift heavy weights. You know what I mean?
know. I want to laugh in their face. The laugh that you got from me just now was like so natural, and that is exactly what I want to do to these people because I'm like, you're so misguided.
Yeah.
So misguided. It is hard to build a physique like that. It is hard.
It is not going to happen by accident by lifting a 35-pound kettlebell,
Yeah. And it's like some of them, I think probably because they have fat on their physique and they're like, well, I don't want to build muscle underneath my fat. And I swear to you, that is their number one issue. And I'm like, that's not how the body works. It's just not how it happens. You're going to start building muscle, but that fat, because you now have muscle, your fat is your muscle's hungry. So it's going to incinerate that fat off your body.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, there's, we're in this together here, you and I, both of us, doing a little bit different things, but very, very similar.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's, at the end of the day, people, again, there's so much information, there's so many people out there. It's difficult to know, who to go to. And so I think, one of the best things that people in the fitness industry can do, especially ones that are trying to make a big impact with their platform and with their brand, is just to really be transparent with why they're doing what they're doing, how they're going to help people, and what they can expect to achieve. Because, at the end of it, that's the nice thing. Like, if you really are looking out for your customers and your clients' interests, they're going to get good results and they're going to tell other people about it because they like and they trust you, and so I think that's just so important now. Gone are the days of the, or at least going away are the days of kind of like the infomercial fitness product gimmicks. And I feel at least that we're making some progress societally and not thinking that wearing an electric ab belt is going to give you a six pack. I hope we're making progress.
I think with
But,
some people we are. And, well, we're in such a cool time where the information technology and access to everything is incredible. So I have a 14-year-old and my son is seeing things all of the time. And I spoke about this in my last podcast that I've always been active. I've gone long time ago. I went in and out of it. But when my son was really young, I would take him on bike rides all the time, or I had a jogger stroller and I would take him outside or we would go to the park. It was just always something. And he was always active, but he also always saw me going downstairs in the basement. And sometimes he would come downstairs and play near me so that I could watch him, but I would do a workout. And I never really invited him to join me because he was young. And now I'll come home from teaching at nighttime and he'll be in the basement because I pretty much have a full-blown gym down there, from a squat rack to extension. I just bought the whole system at Sam's Club one year because it was like less than $500 at Christmas time. And I was like, this is so coming home with me.
Yep.
Because I am spending about $60 a month at a gym when I can easily bring this home and save money and not have to drive somewhere. I can go downstairs and do this whenever I want to.
Right. Yeah.
And
the convenience factor.
Oh yeah, for sure. And at that time, my son was younger, and just to round everything up, then go and drive and then pay for someone to watch him, I was like, no, I am motivated enough to make it happen on my own. So, now I'm so glad because he just goes down there and does it on his own. And when I became a personal trainer, I bought this book that shows the muscles and what moves to do to work those muscles. Mm-hmm. And he kept asking me, and I didn't know where my book was. He kept asking me, Mom, what do I have to do for this? So I would show him. And then finally one day I found that book and I handed it to him and he geeked out. He was like, yes. And so if I want to take it, because I'm doing some recordings for a magazine, I'm doing some video recordings of muscles and moves to do. And so I took the book and I was like, I'm going to need this. And he's like, no, Mom, please don't take it. And I said, okay, I'll leave it here. You can just bring it up to the counter every now and then, like, so I can look at it. And he's like, okay. But yeah, he's so addicted to it. And I never had to push it on him. So really being it and living it and just living that way is the best form of motivation you can offer anybody around you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's got to be, a huge victory as a parent, just kind of feeling like success, I've got them excited and engaged and, in a healthy lifestyle. And so, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. I have a 4-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son, so they're not quite at the age where they're probably a couple years away from weightlifting, but I'm going to start them jump roping soon.
Good.
So,
yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, as long as they see you do it and it's not something that you ever force them to do, they're eventually going to pick it up and do it on their own. And I guarantee you, one of these days, one of them will be so into jump roping and the other one might be into something else. You just don't know, but they are for sure because they see you doing it. They're going to be interested in it. And you said it. It is a victory. It's a huge victory to have our children follow in our footsteps of health because that's where it begins. It has to begin in youth. Otherwise, it's very hard to turn somebody into somebody who wants to work out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's tough. I mean, that's where I feel fortunate that, from a young age, it was something that I was interested in, and my parents helped to accommodate, the sports pursuits and the exercise pursuits that I wanted. And, it just does, it is important, and you and I have both seen people that maybe didn't have that advantage and had, periods of their life where they were unhealthy. And there are definitely positive ways to engage and inspire them to try new things and to get healthy again. But it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, definitely. So what are you really excited about right now? What's kind of burning for you right now?
Well, I think, just to kind of go back, I think it's the rate of growth of our community. I mean, when we started from scratch at the beginning of last year, and, we're up between 4,000 and 5,000 people now. And this isn't like, Facebook likes. This is people that are, actively engaged. And, when we have a challenge, thousands of people are participating. And I think why that's so exciting for us is because it's the first real sense that, our vision of increasing the number of people that are incorporating jumping rope and kind of adopting it as an element of their lifestyle, that the vision is kind of starting to come to fruition, and that it's cool. It's cool to jump rope. It's cool to cross rope.
Right.
We have actually somebody in our community sort of came up with this tagline, cross roper for life, and it's kind of caught on, and we've got T-shirts, and so I think that's just what's really exciting for us right now, and just sort of in terms of just getting more jump ropes into people's hands, getting more cross ropes into people's hands, and seeing how it's really impacting people is what it is so exciting and fueling us really to continue to look and get feedback from our community on ways that we can continue to enhance the experience. Because at the end of the day, the product is really just a vehicle. It's just a platform to deliver an experience. So yes, it's very important that it's high quality. Yes, it's very important that it meets and exceeds people's expectations. But it's really just a way for us to try to make, jumping rope and working out, new and fun and interesting and unique for people that maybe just want to change a pace or tried jumping rope before and didn't have a very good experience because they were tripping up over the rope. And so that's what we're all about. What we're working hard on every single day.
Oh, I love it. That's so incredible. Congratulations. I know how hard it is to build a community. And so that's really great that you're doing that. And people are really starting to get to know you and what you do. It's exciting. I'm excited for you. And good luck with it.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I mean, the same sentence on my end. It sounds like everything is going great on your side. So congrats on everything that you're getting, the great results that you're getting in your community. And I do really kind of like what you said earlier. We are all in this together. I mean, there's a lot of small business, fitness entrepreneurs out there. But sometimes it's hard to find and connect with them. And every time that I do, it's just a really, it's just a really kind of special experience because you realize how much you have in common in terms of what you're trying to do and in terms of, how you're really trying to make an impact on the world and make people's lives better. So exactly.
It is so true. We are really all in this together and just really sharing and cross promoting. I think it's so important, to really help each other because really people are going to flock to what appeals to them.
Yep.
And the people who don't know about you and what you offer that are in my community who love jumping rope and who love jumping when they were kids, well, now they get to learn about you. So, and vice versa, the people in your community women maybe who are like, wait, I want to look like her. I want to do that. Like,
yeah.
Then you do what I do, right? You got to do what works. And I was talking to some people last night about the science, and I was like, science is science, period. You really can't argue with what works. You just have to do it and then watch your body transform.
Right.
So, there are certain circumstances where people might be sick or unhealthy and there's limitations that they may have. But if you're a healthy person, there is absolutely no reason you cannot have a six-pack by putting in the work and eating the way that it will get you to get that six-pack.
Yep.
There's no reason,
Well, I like the fact that there's a strong, nutritional component on your website. And I'm a subscriber as well. It's 70, 80% in the kitchen and, 20, 30% in the workout. And, nutrition is so important. But you're right. That's what the science thing reminded me about because it's kind of the classic calories in, calories out. I mean, if you're watching what you're eating and you're eating healthy calories, like scientifically, you are going to lose that weight. And if you're eating enough grams of protein and the proper ratio of protein and carbs and fats, you're going to, build that muscle that's going to help to increase your metabolism.
Right.
And for jump rope, I mean, that's one of the things I appreciate that, scientific studies to compare the calorie burn rate of jump rope compared to other things. And jump rope, consistently is one of the top exercises for calorie burn rate.
It is.
So I always love, kind of coming back to the facts because it just helps to educate people and give them confidence that, hey, it's kind of a scary proposition. If I go and I commit to this, am I really going to get the results that somebody is saying that I'm going to get? And the answer is yes, because of science.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yep. Just do it. Do it. Do it. You have to show up. You have to be consistent.
Yep.
That's the most important thing. Well, how can people find you? How can they order a rope from you? And first start there. And then I've got another question for you.
Okay, great. Yeah. All of our products and information about them is on crossrope.com. And we've got a lot of free information and resources about jumping rope on blog.crossrope.com. And frankly, that's usually where I direct people first, because there's just a lot of good information about how to get started and, free instructional videos and resources. And really, everything that anybody who wants to get started would need to kind of have some success in taking on jumping rope as a new activity.
Awesome. And then on social media, where would you like people to find you?
Well, we're on Facebook and Instagram are the two that we focus on, as well as, I should say YouTube. YouTube has a lot of great instructional videos, so YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And then we do have a Twitter account. We're probably not as active as we should be on it, but we're there.
Twitter's funny. Twitter's funny. It really is. Like, I think you're on the right places, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just focus on like 2 to 3 and you're good.
Yeah. I think that's what we've learned. And, our YouTube channel is really, I think that's kind of, been our bread and butter, because there's just a lot of good, useful information on there. Even double unders. I'll send you a link to the double under videos that we have.
Oh, please. I would like to master that. I think I'm going to make that my mission.
Yeah, you'll get it. You'll be a double under master.
Oh, that'd be so good. And another thing I want to master is handstand push-ups. Like,
there you go.
People like, wait, but you're a yoga teacher. Can't you do handstands? And I'm like, I kind of can. Sometimes I can on a good day, yeah. But doing a handstand push-up, are you kidding me?
That is not easy.
That's another story, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, it was such a pleasure to have you. And I just want to take a minute to honor everything that you're doing. I know that it is not easy being an entrepreneur and starting and running and owning a business. There's so much that goes into it, especially a health business. So I really just want to honor everything that you're doing for human beings. And, you have a heart of service, which is really, I believe, our true human calling. And I think that that's where it all really, truly begins. I'm sure your path will just keep going on, and you may do other things down the road. This could be just a step to something else too, that, just moves you into another avenue. Who knows?
Yeah.
But just acknowledge you for your work and what you're doing. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, the same to you, and I know that you have a lot of choices for people to have on your podcast. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here, and I hope that your community finds some useful information. And even if I just inspired one more person to try jumping rope, then mission accomplished. Absolutely,
yes, very much so. All right, thank you so much again for being on the show today, Dave, and have a great day.
All right, thanks. You too.
All right, guys, I hope you learned a ton from today's show. I wanted to sign off here today and invite you all over to my website at figurefitlife.com/figurefit. We are launching right now our next 90-day transformation, and we want to have you ripped and amazingly beautiful in that summer bikini or that Speedo, gentlemen. Yeah, baby, rock it. Anyways, come on over, join our tribe. We've got some killer workouts happening this month and next month and in July for you to just get the body that you want, for crying out loud. And it's time. And also, I've got some incredible advancements to people who are ready to shred the last 10 pounds off their body, or 5 pounds if you kind of hover in that space where you're like, I just want my skin to be thinner. I want my abs to be popping. I've got the program for you. So I've got a beginner program for people who are literally doing nothing right now and just need to get started. And I've got an intermediate program and I've got an advanced program for people who want to really target specific areas like building a booty or building more bigger shoulders. I like to call it a rack. Build your rack, get some shoulders, or to really diet and get those abs popping. So right now is your time to get connected with me and my tribe. We are here to help you reach your goals, whatever they might be. So figurefitlife.com/figurefit for the online monthly program. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you loved this show as much as I did. And please share this and also give us a rating and a review in iTunes. I would be so grateful. All right, guys, so much love to you. Have a great day. Bye.